Welcome to my lesson 3. And in this lesson, we are going to look at how you test the viability of a business idea. Remember, we started by generating an idea. We went further and identified some of the things that people are willing to pay for in the idea. And now we are in a position where we are supposed to look at whether our idea is viable. It's something that we can be able to implement. Now, at this juncture, we use what we call a business model. And a business model is just a concept or a template that helps us to understand some of the important aspects that we need before we start our business. So what I'm going to use in this lesson is what we call the business model Calibus by Alexander Osvaldo. I know we have very many more canvas or models that we can be able to use. We have what we call the lean canvas, but I love this one because if you look at our environment, especially in Kenya or in Africa, it tries to capture each and every area that is important, especially when it comes to our business development. Now, the business canvas model has what we call 9 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's made up of 9 blocks. And all these blocks tries to help us understand what we need for us to be able to start our business or to implement our business model. And through that, we know whether the idea is viable or it's an idea that needs a bit of fine-tuning so that we can be able to start. Now we start from the customer segment because the first question that we need to ask ourselves is who is the customer of our idea? So we have offered a solution to a group of people. And who are these people? Who are these people that we are offering the solution to? And therefore, the customer segment is very important because it helps us to understand the real customer or the main customers of our business. Then we have the channels here. We have identified this customer. Then we have to ask ourselves, how do we get to this customer? How are we going to get our products, our revenues, or whatever, our products or our services to these customers? So maybe we can decide to go online, that will be the channel. We can decide to go physical, that will be the channel. So the channel entails the way in which we expect to get to this customer that we have chosen here, or the target customer. Then the relationship, the customer relationship. How are we going to continue with our customers? Are we going to continue endearing to our customers? Are we going to use face-to-face? Are we going to be online? Or if the customer has a query or the customer has something that he wants to know from us, how are we going to react to it, and what are some of the channels that we are going to use? Now, we have the value proposition or the benefit that we are offering to the customer. Remember, in our second lesson, we looked at the value identification, and this is where it comes into the business model. And the question that we are now asked here is, what are we offering to the customer? What are we offering to the customer? Because customers don't buy products, customers buy value, and therefore we must have a benefit that we are selling to the customers. Now, for us to be able to sell those benefits to the customers, there must be some activities that we are going to be carrying out in our business, and that is why you see the key activities. Now, these key activities are part and parcel of how we are going to take the value to our customer here, take the value to our customer here. Therefore, activities are very important, especially when it comes to taking the value or the benefit to the customer. The key resources, what are the most important resources that we need for us to be able to start our business or to implement our business? Now, remember, these are key resources, the most important resources. And therefore, if a resource is not important, then it means that you do not need it. If the resource is not important, then it means that you do not need it. The cost structure entails to the key resources. Remember, the key resources are the key things that we need. And some of these key resources will incur us cost. And therefore, we need to capture these costs in our cost structure. Lastly, we have revenue streams. Now, most of the times I say the key activities in most cases are the avenue to the revenue that we are going to get. How are the customers going to pay us? These customers need to pay us for our services, for our value, this value that you see here. How are they going to pay us for our values? And therefore, the key revenue is very important, or revenue streams. And lastly, we have partners. Who are these people who are going to partner with us? Who are these people that are so important in our business that without them, we cannot be able to continue? These are the ones that we are calling the key partners, and they are very important. So let me just take a good example of the M-Pesa idea or model. If you look at this business model, for M-Pesa, the customer segment will have anybody who has a phone that can be able to transfer money from one point to another or deposit money from somebody. So anybody who owns a phone is a customer to the M-Pesa. Now the channel, or how you get the services, the customers are going to get the services from the M-Pesa is through an application called M-Pesa application in our phones. And in most cases, the relationship between us and M-Pesa is either online or through the calls, or you can also do physical by going to their M-Pesa customer service site. The value proposition, the benefit we get from M-Pesa is convenient way of transferring our money, and also convenient way of getting some credit, and also convenient way of paying for our goods and services in the shops without using cash. The activities that M-Pesa offers are money transfer. We have Fuliza, we have M-Shwari, we have all these services. And these services or activities are the ones that are the source of the revenue for the organization. If you transfer money from one point to another, then what you need to do is to pay the transfer fee, money transfer fee. And that is how they make their revenue. The key resources that you need: one, you need a system, the M-Pesa system for you to start. You need the developers of the systems, and you need phones, etc. Those are the key resources. Partners, you have the CAK, Communication Authority of Kenya, CBK for M-Pesa, developers, suppliers of the software, and all these are important aspects. For the cost structure is the cost of these key resources, and one of them is the cost of developing the program. So all those are some of the costs that you need to incur before you come up with your product. So that is a business model. It is very important, especially when you want to test the viability of your business. And in most cases, if you find that you have a problem with one of the block, then you can try to see whether you can be able to change it or to pivot it so that you can at least have everything that you need for you to start. So thank you very much for being with me in my lesson 3. I hope you join me in my lesson 4. Thank you very much.